Hello and welcome back to When the Night Comes. I'm Agent of Mischief. Let's jump back into this and let's play some video game. Hunter Adventurous, I think I may require your assistance. As soon as the initial shock has faded, Ezra is at her side in a flash. They exchange a look, and Aurora nods her permission when his fingertips glow a pale green.
Who did this to you?
Who did this to you? More like, what did this to me? Aurora hisses when Ezra places his hands upon her bleeding forearm and withdraws his touch with a sorry smile. Apologies. She gently swats him away, not entirely ungrateful in his care. It's fine. It's just a scratch. Aurora, what happened? Ezra helps her to the bed, her legs shaking as she settles upon the mattress. I encountered a little trouble on my evening walk. Trouble? A creature. The one that's been giving you hunters some actual work to do. The creature? Yes. It wasn't hostile towards me the first time I encountered it, but this time... My blood boils. You're saying you've been liaisoning with this thing when it's been killing my colleagues? And on more than one occasion without reporting it? I should arrest you for being in contempt of the agency. She stares at me, mouth agape. I come to you injured, asking for assistance, and you threaten to arrest me? Ezra glances at me, then back at her, and then she shrugs. Yes, that's exactly what Raven said. Got yourself a little pet witch, did you, Hunter? Cute. I pointedly ignore her and I turn to Ezra. We shouldn't stay here, it's too public. If anyone reports it to the enforcers... Where do you suggest? Laura perks up, tilting her head. Trouble in paradise? Sneaking around behind your precious puppet master's back, are you, Hunter?
You should take her to Gus. It won't look suspicious if you get caught.
He's right. It will look like I'm doing the right thing at least. How are we going to get her past all the people downstairs? The look on his face tells me I don't need to worry. I can help with that. After an apparently successful exercise and distraction back in the Wolf, I rush Aurora across town to August's rather impressive abode without further incident. They stand in the doorway and stare at her with a crinkled nose. I'd say that it's nice to see you, but... Can we come in? I meet their gaze, trying to convey the urgency.
Just don't get blood on the sofa. Please.
Noted. I take in my surroundings, and this home couldn't possibly be owned by anyone other than Augustus Willenheim. This is beautiful, August. Thank you. It's nice having my own little sanctuary, though I don't spend as much time here as I would like. I tentatively take a seat beside them, both of us glaring at Aurora across the extensive coffee table. Aurora clears her throat, her eyebrows climbing high as she stares at us from across the room. Can we start? I'd like to go home if we can get this over with quickly.
Explain exactly what you've been up to, Miss Woodridge. In detail.
She crosses her legs, smoothing the rumpled, dirtied fabric of her skirt. August watches, appreciative of her attempt to collect herself, but perceptive that none of her filth makes contact with their home. No more than it must, at least. Firstly, in the interest of protecting myself, I want you to assure me that what I say here won't be used against me. From what I gather, you've been working against the enforcer, so I suppose you do well to agree to this condition? August looks at me for confirmation. I shrug, knowing that she's right. We can't afford for her to go to them at this point, to go to anyone but us. It stays between us. Good. Now I understand that you're aware that this level of creature activity has increased here in Lunaris as of late, Enforcer Wilhelmine. August nods. Yes, but Harry has done an excellent job in putting systems in place to ensure that we're on top of it. The number of fatalities has significantly dropped in the last year, if that's what you're getting at. Aurora hums, contemplating their statement with a tilt of her head. Lunaris had the lowest mortality rate of any town in the whole of Escria until very recently. Did you know that? They shift uncomfortably in their seat, avoiding eye contact with the both of us. She's playing a game, almost mocking August's obvious intelligence, I presume. Of course I was aware of that, yes. Don't you think that's awfully strange? That all of a sudden one of the most peaceful areas would turn into the epicenter of creature activity? That one day they began descending upon us in droves, stronger and faster than before. Did no one in your agency investigate a potential cause? I look at them again, assessing their reaction. My interest is considerably piqued. Lunaris was never on my radar before I was called here. I only knew of his existence because of Harry and James's notoriety, so I certainly didn't know this. Escria is made up of cities and towns far larger than Lunaris, so for Aurora to claim that this sleepy little place is the hotspot for creature activity is beyond alarming. August? With a deep breath, sorry. With a deep breath, August responds.
I'm aware that there was an investigation, but that nothing was found. We chalked it up to the simple fact that we aren't doing a good enough job of eliminating the creatures as a country. That they are multiplying at a rate far quicker than we and everyone else can effectively handle.
Another quiet hum. I gather that she's simply testing them. Aurora knows a lot more than she's letting on, clearly, and it brings back a touch of her knowing resolve. So why in the last year has that magically gotten better? Until these recent murders began, Lunaris was relatively peaceful again, wouldn't you say? Not as peaceful as before, but an improvement was seen, yes. I'm no wiser than you, really, Enforcer, but I do know that the thing committing these murders is no ordinary creature. And I know that the method in which your precious leader has used to fix the problem is an unsavory one. But something isn't right here in Lunaris. Something is drawing them here, and wherever that something is, it's making them stronger. I look at Aurora, taking note of her confidence and her poise. It's impressive, but I can't help but wonder how the hell she knows all this information she's just unloaded on us. You know an awful lot about the Enforcers, even more than us, apparently. How? She shrugs, nonchalant, not quite getting the gravity of the situation, I feel. People talk.
To the twins that alienate everyone by telling them they deserve to get gobbled up by monsters for daring to be afraid. It sounds unlikely.
Believe it or not, there are people in this sad little town that are more afraid of the Enforcers and your hunter pets than they are of the monsters. They see you talking to the things that lurk in the catacombs, the vampires, the lycan, the demon. They may smile and seem friendly, but they are just as much of an untamed creature as the one that lurks in the woods that you don't allow to drink in the tavern or sleep in your beds. Tell us what happened last night. How did you find the creature? Aurora daintily clasps her hands in her lap, taking her time to respond. I often check the graveyard and the forest surrounding the Ibex before I sleep. I like to know there's no creatures out there that may need my help. You have Lux for that. Does she not do her job sufficiently enough? Lux is an incredible guard, but she doesn't care for the creatures in the way that I do. She simply serves to protect us, not them. Why do you require a night guard exactly? Before Aurora can speak, August pipes up.
Because we were fed up of them calling in problems and using up our limited resources. The only real issues they ever had was some angry townsfolk with a kitchen knife.
You hadn't already noticed, the Ibex isn't exactly popular around here, so we assigned Lux as an unofficial guard to keep a watch. Anyway, as I was saying, I did my usual nightly check, and I heard something in distress in the forest. I found a creature. The creature. A ghastly-looking thing, but he was crying. Crying? August lets out a tiny burst of laughter, quickly covering their mouth once the sound has escaped. I cannot explain, but that's what it sounded like, hunched over against a tree trunk, clutching the bark, just wailing. I approached it. It simply ignored me and retreated into the forest. But she holds out her arm. The gash is deep and angry. As you can see, it wasn't so uninterested in me this time. It attacked me, pinned me to the ground. I only escaped because it heard something and scurried off. Shit. I look at August, and they're pinching the bridge of their nose, their eyes closed. I watch as August rises and walks to stand in front of the fire. Aurora hasn't taken her eyes off me. Her expression is inscrutable. You need to see a healer. She shrugs, uncaring, sparing her dying... Why did I say dying? I almost said her dying arm. Sparing her bleeding arm a fleeting glance. Like I said, it's just a scratch. They're right.
I don't know what the hell that thing is. And you're already unsettling enough without suddenly sprouting horns.
You should seek out Ezra. At least we know he'll be discreet. She stands and quickly heads for the door, as if the moment to leave this place couldn't have come sooner. Before she reaches for the handle. Wait. Yes?
Don't forget this kindness we've shown you here tonight. We could have thrown you in the dungeons for what you've been withholding, but I'd rather not see someone else disappear. Though our beliefs may differ, we are here to protect you.
I stand to join them, a show of solidarity in that promise. Aurora may not believe their words, but their purpose has, and always has been, to protect everyone. Stay out of the woods, Aurora. Creatures like this are not something you play house with. Make no mistake, this is something even you cannot feel sympathy for. It's killed mindlessly and unprompted. She smiles, and the first time it seems genuine, if not a little reserved. That doesn't look genuine to me. That's a creepy fucking smile she has there. I'll come straight to you if I see it again, and thank you. I'm sorry that I brought her here. You did the right thing. Do not apologize. They take a seat, sinking deeply into the cushions with a grateful groan. Is it bad that I remain unfazed by such conversations? Not knowing a bloody thing has become the norm, apparently.
This town is infested with secrets. I can't wait until all of this is over. If it ever will be.
How am I supposed to do my job and protect these people when I'm left so in the dark? You care enough to keep trying, that's all that matters. The people of Lunaris are lucky to have you, August. Thank you, Raven. It'll be morning soon. With a heavy sigh, August curls their legs up beneath them. Yet another night of no rest. What's new in this town, I suppose I better try and get an hour or two of sleep. I'll head back to the wolf and attempt to do the same. We'll reconvene tomorrow. Sleep well, Hunter. I wake barely refreshed, but with an inkling. A gut feeling, or something. The outback is more desolate than I remember. The doors open easily enough, even though there isn't anyone there to greet me, and the chapel within has only pockets of sunlight where it streams through the cracked windows. The rest is drowned in shadows, but shadows that I know are safe, I guess. My instincts warn me of nothing else other than the two bright presences perched atop the dais at the end of the room. And as they're here, I don't feel any need to worry about my own safety. Strange that I feel that way about the two demonic entities of the highest class. Me, a hunter, alone in this abandoned temple, like the plot of some corny horror novel. Elaine and Omen's conversation peters out as I close the door behind me and approach them. The way they tilt their heads in perfect synchronization reminds me eerily of the Woodridge twins, but their expressions are quick to change to big, similar grins. Raven, I didn't expect to see you here. He slides off the dais and comes to meet me. I incline my head at him, agreeing, while my eyes are on still-seated Elaine. She stares back at me and smiles, bright and soft, and raises her delicate hand in a small wave. It's good to see you as well, Elaine. Elaine beams that, clapping her hands together. Oh, it's good to see you too. I'm sorry the last time we met things were so messy. With a small oof, Elaine pushes herself off the dais and approaches me as well. And my second, I suppose, impression of her is that she's far cheerier and much less cautious than Omen. There's a spring to her step, even as she strides, eating up the distance between us with wide, confident steps. She sketches a curtsy for me, and when I try to return it with a bow, she giggles. Thank you. I was hoping I would see you again. We both were. I heard something happened with Aurora. Yes, Lunaris looks so worried. She picks anxiously at the cuff of her sleeve as she mentions him. My eyes are drawn to the movement as are Omen's, and is that my imagination, or is it a tiny crease between his brow? Does he not like Armorous? Before things can get awkward, however, I clear my throat. An idea strikes me. I have a question, actually, for the both of you. Identical brown eyes blink at me. They really are twins, even if not human ones. When we were speaking with Aurora last night, she mentioned something. It seems in the last few years, supernatural activity has been at an all-time high in Lunaris. August figured it was only because the volume of creatures was increasing faster than the enforcers and our hunters could control them, but we have our doubts. And I know instantly I was correct to doubt, as the air around us seems to shift and change. Omen sucks in a deep breath, his hand going to clutch at the back of his neck, eyes averted. Elaine purses her lips and clasps her hands in front of her, but she keeps her gaze on me. For a moment, she's no longer a soft-eyed young woman with large teeth and a pretty smile. For a fraction of that moment, I perceive her as the thing behind those human details. Something old and seething and immense gazes at me behind those eyes, through those eyes. The pressure near crushes my lungs with the force of her presence. Then it dissipates so fast I could be convinced I was imagining it. It's because Omen's hand is on her shoulder. No, it's fine. Raven isn't trying to. He trails off. Elaine pats his hand but slides it off and turns to face me fully. The smile is back, it's just a little sharper than before, and she raises a hand. I almost flinch, but all she does is point at my weapon. Can you please remove your hand from that? It's a lot to ask for me after that little display. Elaine inclines her head. You have a point, I suppose. But all the same, it will do you no good here. She's right. Galling that she would point it out so matter-of-factly, but even as I reluctantly tear my fingers from my weapon, the answer I was seeking strikes me. It was you, wasn't it? You're the reason for the increase in the paranormal activity around Lunaris. It isn't her fault, but mine. Owen is rubbing at the back of his neck as though worrying an old scar. When he meets my gaze, his aura is dimmed, sad. Omen?
Some mortal years ago, I had an argument with my father.
He pauses, mouth moving without sound. Elaine shifts on her feet where I watch her from the corner of my eye, but she doesn't move. Her presence is once again extinguished and kept tightly under control.
It ended in my departure to your realm. He was unhappy with me leaving and tried to prevent me crossing over. I had to go into hiding, and in the journey between, it's possible I might have damaged the boundaries between our worlds. Here in this town.
Oh. And your father isn't planning on making a trip across to get you back, is he? The thought leaves me cold as much as it makes me want to stare at the ceiling and wonder out loud what exactly this town has done that caused so many fucking problems to become attracted to it like flies to a bloated corpse. That would be just the thing we need, wouldn't it? Lucifer himself coming through to give us another slap on the ass. No, he cannot wander so far, not as far as us. And Omen took, measures to stop him from finding us. To stop us from finding him. She gives Omen a look, but he purposely ignores her. My eyes are on the hand he's using to rub the back of his neck. I assumed it was a nervous habit, but now that I'm paying close attention, I can see something that looks like it might be a scar snaking out from under his collar. It's difficult to spot, though, and as if he's thinking the same thing, Omen yanks his collar up to hide it. Elaine presses close to his side, their shoulders touching, their tails intertwined briefly, almost a hand-squeeze gesture of its own, before she leans away and looks at me. We apologize for the danger we have brought to this place. It isn't me you should be apologizing to, I think. Omen gives me a pained look but inclines his head.
You're right. I didn't know the boundaries would be so badly affected by my crossing. By all means, destroying the brand, the markings that allow my father to seek me out, should have been enough. I also hoped the boundaries would heal on their own, as they do. Likely they are, but too slowly. Perhaps.
He trails off, looking at something behind my shoulder. I turn to follow his eyes. Armorous Woodridge stares back at us from where he's half peeking from the front door. His eyes widen like a cornered rabbit when he realizes we've noticed. But before I can even open my mouth to reassure him, Elaine makes a gleeful little noise and runs to Armorous. Omen snorts, a sound almost a laugh. I was almost afraid that you don't like him. He keeps the news of Elaine's arrival from me. That should be enough for me to resent him. He says that, but his eyes are soft as we look on. Elaine is holding Armorous's hands now, who looks remarkably less afraid, and whatever they're talking about is too low for me to hear, but his smile is bright. I see her smile too, and her tail curls affectionately around his waist. They make their way back over to us, and Armorous eyeing me warily. I nod at Armorous when he glances at me again. The way he seems to jump a little before smiling back is almost amusing. Have you come to fetch me, or Elaine? Neither, actually. I've come to tell you that Aurora will be here soon. I wanted to... He trails off uncertainly, probably not sure about betraying his sister's view on things yet. I'm not sure how much of that I can sympathize with, but after the mess last night, I'm nothing if not glad that I don't have to see that woman again just yet. I have a feeling she would have something galling to say about all of this. This that I should also make a report on. I scratch my head thinking about what exactly will go on the mission report for this entire mess. Just considering it is already giving me a soul-deep pain. I need to go find Alcar anyway. Well, that would be a good idea. I hope that I'll see you again later, Raven. I'm sure you will. He hums in agreement, reaching for me as though he wants to put his hand on my shoulder, but he seems to think better of it at the last moment and turns it into an awkward wave before walking away. I linger for a moment longer, watching Armorous and Elaine's conversation. Armorous is smiling at something she says, and the last thing I see as I turn away from them is Elaine kissing his cheek. Elaine is so cute, I want to pinch her cheeks. The streets are dead empty when I leave. It's eerie almost, the sudden stillness, as though the town itself is instinctively aware of the wrongness it's experiencing, withdrawing into itself. I wonder truly how much the people know, how much they're willing to know. From what Aurora said, it hasn't always been this way for Lunaris, but I find it hard to imagine this before. It must have been years ago, according to what she said at August's. But all Omen and Elaine have done is confirm that there was an increase in supernatural activity, not what the enforcers here have done to combat it. Nor did their affirmation lend anything to ease the growing dread in me, the one that's been sitting like a poison in the back of my mind since I first started snooping in August's office for Aya's records just a few weeks ago. I'm a general, but I'm still just another hunter in the end. The enforcers, the allies, the support network at my back all account for much of my success and strength. It dictates how I am to move, act, think. And now what, if I can't even trust it to hold my weight? That I don't know the full truth is nothing new. That I'm only ever told enough to commit myself to the contract at hand is nothing new. But those deliberate acts of withholding information have always been passed off as an attempt to protect the hunters, and for the most part that's been true. Not this time, though. The sound of a bird taking flight snaps me out of my thoughts. I shake my head, blink, and look up to the sparse, twisting branches of the forest. Somehow my feet have taken me here, taken me on a path I didn't know I could remember so well, actually. And when I look down the ground, I see the rock to which Alcar hides his cave. He hasn't bothered to keep the trapdoor concealed, I realize as I walk around it. There the entrance is, inviting to all. Thinking about the half-lycan, I doubt that's true, but... Hesitantly, I kneel by it and knock. A long moment passes with no response, just as I was beginning to feel silly. It's daylight, he's probably in town. It suddenly swings up so fast it nearly hits me in the face. Alcar tilts his head, ears perked. His expression slowly morphs into a grin, if a tired one. You got a warrant? That's not what guests bring with him on a house visit, Alcar. Depends. I shift, intending to sit, since, honestly, I'm not sure if he's going to let me into his house. The moment I start to, however, Alcar retreats back into the cave with a beckon. He's already gone. If I don't follow, the trapdoor is going to fall on my knees, so I hastily follow him down. The latch is a little difficult to work out, but after a moment I manage to fasten it the way I think it's supposed to be fastened. By the time I get into the cave properly, which looks the same with just a bunch of messy blankets and pillows on one of his benches, proof that he really did just wake up, Alcar is already across the room. I watch him throw firewood into a small stove and put a kettle onto the oil. What brings you here, mighty hunter? Instincts. Alcar throws me a smirk. He opens an iron chest next to the stove and pulls out a jar of something dried and joins me by the cushions. Prying the lid open, he offers me the treat. Is that dog chow? If you're a dog, everything you eat is dog chow. So, are you a dog? No, mate, it's fucking candied fruits. I snort but take a piece. So I'm not under arrest. Nothing exploded in this town that I know about. You cut your feelings on something? No, It is then I realize I don't know what the hell I've come to him for, really. Comfort? Going to Alcar for comfort? Not likely. Though now that I'm here, there is something I need to tell him. The hunter you attacked, well, the one whose attack you were imprisoned for, I should say. Alkar's wolf ears immediately flattened to his head. I can see his jaw clenched, but he looked straight at me, red eyes sharp. Yeah? His name is Azazel. We found signs of him in the dungeons. Alkar inhales sharply, then sighs, the relief evident in the drop of his shoulders, but then he raises his eyebrows. Wait, in the dungeons? The dungeons where they kept me?
What did he do?
Sorry, I somehow I didn't hear the beginning of that dialogue. We don't know, but he was there, and I'm sure he was at the very least alive when you were taken in. Then why did they... I don't know. Alkar snorts, and this time the sound is bitter. He gets to his feet and begins to pace, tightening the bandages around his hands. I can feel his upset, the intensity of it. And under all that brewing resentment, I can't blame him. You keep using past tenses. What happened to this Azazel bloke? I don't know that either, which is the problem. Alkar pauses and looks at me in disbelief. After a moment, however, he sighs and comes back down to sit again. Guess that's why you're here. To tell you, yes.
Your employers sure like to keep shit hush-hush. Figured as much. But thanks for telling me. It's been sitting like a fucking gravestone on my mind since... Well, now I feel pretty fucking bummed out, actually. I can't believe they put me through that shit for something that never even happened.
I'm sorry. This shouldn't have happened. They had no right.
They don't need rights. They only needed a reason and the upper hand.
The bitter pessimism in Alkar's words sting, but I shake my head. There's right and there's wrong. They owe you an apology. We owe you an apology, since it seems like we can't find a fucking explanation for anything that's happened. Why are you so sorry for something you can't control? Because I'm a hunter. Just because. Alkar laughs, short and sharp, but he clasps me on the shoulder. What are you going to do about all this, Raven? I'll find the truth. That's all I can do, isn't it? No, that's what I must do. Now that we've come this far. And that's all I ask, too. His hands close around my wrist. I raise my eyes from the floor to look at him, and the sheer intensity with which he stares back at me, the sheer sincerity in his eyes, almost carries the force of a blow. Thank you. I venture deeper into the catacombs, the darkened tunnels becoming somewhat familiar to me now. I hear a quiet laugh, and I smile to myself as a figure appears from the shadows. The other Raven. Hi, other Raven. What's cooking, good looking? Hello, Raven. May I escort you to Lord Casimir's lair? I mean, not that you have a choice. I'm terribly bored. I begin walking, and Raven falls in step by my side, though she walks backward, those crimson eyes not leaving my face for even a second. Why are you bored? Sun's up. Can't do much other than annoy Finn. Now that you're here to do that, I assume. More like work, I suppose? She snorts again. It's quickly becoming a familiar sound. He works too much. All of you do. Then she skids to stop in front of me as we've reached Finn's door, her hand raised. Listen, I just want you to know we have your back. Not that Finn wouldn't have already told you that, but it's important to me that you know. The way she looks at me tells me I can believe her, that Raven is loyal to a fault, and I'm lucky to have such allies. Thank you, Raven. I appreciate that. Sweet. Now go do your boring, important people stuff, I guess. I'll try not to interrupt. In a flash, she's gone, absorbed by the darkness. The door to Finn's room opens with a quiet creak before I can raise my fist to knock, and he greets me with a smile. Afternoon. Please come in. I eagerly step inside, the candlelight that flickers in his lavish quarters decidedly more inviting than the dank hallways. I heard Raven lurking. She didn't bother you, did she? I shake my head as he moves to lean against his desk. She was fine, if not a little strange. He tilts his head this way and that, feigning tossing around a deep thought in his mind before grinning. Strange is her specialty. We should discuss Fiero, discuss what Piper and I found down there. His expression neutralizes, his posture becoming tense. Yes, we should. I have some concerns. I'm sure you do. What could they want with his blood, Finn? I'm no expert, but if I'm not mistaken, vampire blood can be harmful to anything that isn't one of your kind. He stares off into the distance for a moment. The look is pensive, as if he's considering his next words very carefully.
What do you know of your initiation? Of what they put you through when you're chosen?
I open my mouth to respond, but I find myself having nothing to say. I remember little of what happened back when I was just a child, back when I first arrived at the academy. I remember waking up and feeling different, feeling strong. I frowned, frustrated that I can't recall such a pivotal moment in my life, the moment that quite literally made me who I am. I can feel him watching me carefully. When I meet his gaze, his eyes are sad.
I know little of what they did to make you the way you are, but I've been around long enough to hear rumors. Nothing about what's happening here adds up. Of that much I'm sure. The only person who has answers is Harry. We can't even trust the man who swore to lead and protect you.
If they're taking Fiero's blood, it's not with good intention. Vampire blood can be incredibly dangerous if used with malicious intent. We need to get him out of there. I search my brain for ideas, solutions, anything. The silence we stand in is heavy with our contemplation, and something hits me. When I first encountered the creature, it almost felt like I'd been enthralled. As if it compelled you to just freeze. It manipulated you. Manipulated. Then something clicks. Fiero is an empath, right? He can feel both emotion and manipulate it? Yes, and he's incredibly powerful. Levi wouldn't have looked at him twice if he wasn't different. There are other vampires that have such abilities. Even I can influence people's thoughts, but not to the extent that he can. I think about the implications of that kind of power falling into the wrong hands, how they leave me feeling leaden in place. Can the abilities be transferred, say, through consuming his blood? I can't say I've ever heard of such a thing being done before, but it's certainly not impossible. That creature, if it has been given his blood, why? What could that possibly achieve? I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. Already they're heavy in my mind at what this might mean. Something new, something powerful. The rumors that you've heard about the initiation, can you tell me? He grips the edge of his desk, the wood creaking beneath his fingertips.
There are many things about the agency's practices that I've heard over the centuries. None of them are particularly kind, but most sound too far-fetched to be plausible. My personal favorite is that hunters grow on trees. Were you grown on a tree?
I was grown on a tree. Actually, my first cousin is Groot. He's a great fella. I laugh, rolling my eyes. Point taken. Not all of them are exactly sane rumors, then. No, but with everything that's been going on around here lately, stranger things have happened. Stranger things has happened here. Ooh. I process everything as best as I can on such little sleep, yet again feeling out of my depth, but somehow closer to the truth. Our priority is getting Fiero out of there, but we also have other concerns to attend to. I can have the clan work on an extraction plan, knowing we know exactly where he is. Leave that to us. At least there's one less thing for you to worry about, right? Though I could use your help enlisting Merriman to assist. We could do with someone on your side. Consider it done. You'll let me know if you need me to, though. He nods, reaching for the door to open it for me. Of course. Now stay safe, won't you? I will. I just need to see Ezra about our little demon friends. We'll have fun with that, Raven, and good luck. Oh, we're gonna have some fun with Ezra. The shop is busy when I arrive, but Ezra does an excellent job of remaining professional when he spots me. I linger in the corner while he rings up his final customers, surveying the volumes upon volumes of magical literature he has on display. The sleepy white cat from before is curled up on the countertop, and she lazily raises her head when I approach as the bell signals that the final customer has left. Her eyes glow a vivid aquamarine, and she's certainly unlike any feline I've seen before. Her name is Coco. He scratches her chin, and she purrs her thanks before gracefully jumping down, heading for the back room with a swish of her tail. She's got a bit of an attitude problem. I think I've spoiled her a little too much. How long have you had her? Smells twists aside while he thinks. She followed me whole one night when I was a child, maybe 10, 11 years ago. She's not exactly a normal cat, but I've never really bothered to find out what she might be or where she's from. She's just Coco. We'll value her privacy.
What can I do for you? Is it about the tall, blonde, utterly terrifying woman you sent my way last night?
Edgar was taking a deep breath. My mind is once again overflowing with revelations, new information I've barely had time to process. Sorry about that, but no, I had a chat with our demon friends. I study his expression carefully, but I see nothing to indicate that he has any idea what I'm talking about. And? How adept are you at closing hell portals? What? I almost can't help but laugh at the way his eyes widen. Then a flicker of realization, his shoulders sinking under the weight of it.
Oh no, I can't believe I didn't think to check. I've been so caught up with everything else that I just... Fuck.
He's obviously distressed that such a thing could fly under his radar, and I gather that Ezra has quickly put the puzzle pieces together. Ezra isn't stupid. He knows what this means, what the tear between realms has brought upon this town. We can and will fix this. There must be a spell. A ritual? He clears his throat, snapping himself from his daze.
Yes, I mean, there will be, not that I'm familiar. It will require a great deal of research, and I doubt I'll be able to do that alone.
August? He smiles.
August is very powerful, as I'm sure you can already tell. So, with their help, hopefully it's something we can achieve.
I don't doubt either of you for a second. I look at him as he processes all of this, his fingertips visibly twitching at his side, eyes flickering to the endless row of books that line his walls. Ezra, I know you can do this. Please don't worry. He offers me a smile, but does a sorry thing, timid almost.
I'm glad that you have some faith in me, at least. I'm just so angry with myself. I was the first person Omen found when he arrived. I should have known.
I tended to his wound, saw the markings. I should have checked. Markings? I think back to the odd way that Owen rubbed his neck. Demons from other realms often have a sigil or rune that grants them access to their homes, so it would make sense for him to have one, I suppose. But healed? To what extent did Omen go to? You should ask Omen. It isn't my place. Of course, but I think you can give yourself a pass on this one? It isn't exactly common to have a Prince of Hell stumble into your shop. I cross the room and take his hand, the urge to comfort him overwhelming. I tip my chin to catch his gaze, coaxing a small smile. You're just saying that. Oh, and why would I do such a thing? I watch the gentle bob of his throat as he swallows, his lips parted, eyes focused on me, only me. Then he catches my lips with his own in a kiss that assists in answering my question. That I'd do anything for him, anything to make him happy. His hair is soft when he curls about my fingertips, his skin warm as my thumb brushes over a flushed, freckled cheekbone. Reluctantly, I pull away, resting our foreheads together, looking him in his pretty eyes, then as honest as I could ever be. I would never lie to you. You're brilliant and smart and capable.
Now you're actively trying to make me blush, aren't you?
I place another quick kiss to his lips before I move away, but only a little. No, I just know that you can do it. I'm not just saying it, I promise. With a theatrical sigh, Ezra concedes. Very well, I believe you, I suppose. Now, do you want to tell August, or shall I? Very loud burst of laughter tells me that I might be the one tasked with such a pleasant conversation. Excellent. It's really more like, excellent. Piper opens the door with a smile as I advance to the next stop on my tour. Afternoon. Just gonna stand there or what? I roll my eyes, kicking off my boots as I enter. We take a seat upon the sofa, Piper tucking her feet beneath her, relaxed in her surroundings. I had an eventful evening. She sits a little straight, her eyebrows quirked in interest. Oh, yeah? Yeah, with your favorite cultist, actually. The noise that she makes is interesting. Ugh, her. How awful for you. My sympathies. Rather you than me, though, I suppose. What gives? Oh, you know, the usual. Just her making friends with the thing terrorizing us. Normal cultist stuff. I wish I could say I'm surprised. Was it at least a little productive conversation? Yes, it helped, which is better than nothing, right? Better than nothing. I take a deep breath, considering my next words carefully. We should talk about Aya, about what we found down there. Her shoulders slump and she averts her gaze, her eyes sad. Yes, I haven't stopped thinking about it all. Fierro, Aya, everything.
How can we work for people who do that? Who forge records, who imprison their own for nothing?
Aya is innocent, that much I know, and Azazel, he's down there because he supposedly got attacked. It continues to make no fucking sense. I agree with her, but we have little time for frustration. We have to begin acting. Now. The clan are preparing to get Fiero out of the dungeons. We can't leave him in there. Not now that we know what they're doing. Finn was wondering if you'd mind assisting them. Of course I will. Anything to stick it to those arsehole enforcers. I feel a little stupid for having such an idea, but after what Fenn told me about the blood, I can't get it off my mind. When I encountered the creature, it was almost as if it enthralled me, like it sapped away all of my free will. Piper frowned, shifting a little closer, waiting for me to continue. What if they're taking Fiero's blood to give to this creature? To make it stronger, better. She takes a while to respond.
If they are, why? Why would they need to mess around with the things we're supposed to be killing? Our purpose is to rid the planet of those things, not to make them stronger.
She's right, it makes no sense. We need to figure out their endgame and fast. I pause, watching her carefully. She looks tired. She looks so tired. How are you doing after all of this? She huffs a quiet little laugh, shrugging. I don't really know.
Before all of this, I was just angry. Angry that I got punished for caring too much, which isn't something I ever really did before. Now I just feel numb.
It's going to be okay, Piper. It has to be. Right, how could it possibly get any fucking worse? I grimace and Piper laughs. Don't say that. No, we're really fucked. The groan, I reluctantly tear myself away from the comfort of her sofa. The mere thought of dragging myself across the street with the wolf makes me want to weep, but I really should check in with August. I need to go and visit our dear enforcer. Have fun with that, I suppose. She crinkles her nose in disgust, and I can't help but laugh at the expression. Thanks a bunch. I head for the door, turning to look at her one last time when she yells, Wouldn't want to be ya. In the aftermath of what we learned, August and Ezra were quick to action, gathering supplies and the instruments required to perform the spell. That was the first day. Then time stretched on. 1 day, 2 days, 4, a week. Knowing that everything was leading up to this moment, and that it might not even work, was stressful to say the least. What if they couldn't close it? What if the creature is still strong without this unseen force feeding it? Those worries lingered, but I found ways to distract myself. I hunted nightly, I spent time training with Piper, studying with August. There was also Ezra. Still in moments with him amongst all the chaos, moments that only solidified my feelings for him. Then knock at my door one night. News I've been waiting for. I step outside just in time to watch the sunset over the horizon. The sky darkens, and the clouds are tipped with orange and purple until all that hangs over me is endless black. Somehow I feel lighter than ever as I head for the forest, a funny kind of hope settling in my gut. Ezra and August are strong alone, but together? I think back to that moment at Ezra's shop, the reconciliation between the two, the shift in how they hold themselves, a weight finally released. Together, I have no doubt that they're unstoppable. There's only one way to find out. Omen and Elaine had entered our realm right on the edge of town, just as the cobblestones fade into dirt. The trees are denser here, everything a little less ominous. I find Ezra and August exactly where they said they would be, both of them looking a little pensive. Raven, right on time. I know you don't suffer tardiness. Very good. Now, shall we just get on with it, I suppose? Ezra has already laid out his supplies, a neat little pile of strange things you could only ever find at a magic shop. There's also a symbol drawn on the forest floor that looks startlingly similar to a pentagram with a few minor changes. Ezra catches me looking and offering me a shrug as if saying, of course us closing a portal to one of the many hells would require such a thing. Just another day in Lunaris. But let's get this over with. He pulls a vial from his belt, the liquid dark and viscous. From my experience, I recognize it as demon blood. Omen gave it willingly. I didn't stab him or anything. I can't imagine Ezra stabbing anyone. I think we know that, Ezra. Just checking. He pours the blood upon the ground at their feet, the faintest shimmer shining in the grass when it makes contact. They join hands and begin chanting. My name is Mina. I'm Aoni. From the fire of earth. Quae mina I'm saz. To the fire of hell. Shimmer grows in luminosity. It pulses brighter, brighter still until it's almost blinding. I step back, watching as they grip on one another tightens, their eyes aglow, legs shaking. Ezra almost falters, but August holds him steady, gives him strength. Que sa sesh nuch yis saz. We call to he who rules this realm. Yeza yiz kokwa. Close this gate. The ground beneath our feet rumbles. It stutters and shakes from their incantation, a vibration I feel deep in my bones. Yeza yiz kokwa. Close this gate. Then, stillness, silence. So they release one another, exchanging appraising glances of their current state. There's some haggard breathing with their apparently fine. They turn their attention back to the tear. Or former tear. Is it done? Did it work? Perhaps the question was too soon. It tumbles out before I can stop it and echoes yet loudly. Yet as if seeing that hazy portal wink out was anything to go by, I damn well better ask.
I think it did. The energy still lingers, but I no longer feel anything pulling at me. Not like I did when we first arrived.
The only way to know for sure is to get Omen or Elaine to check for us.
I can... Ezra is interrupted by a chorus of yelling and terrible screaming. As if all at once the air is kicked from our lungs, and whatever brief moment of relief we had is extinguished at the sound.
It's coming from town. But we need to...
I'll clean up here. Go, I've got this.
We both look at him, hesitant, but time is of the essence, so we know we have no choice. Stay safe. Head straight home as soon as you're done. You've exhausted yourself enough for one evening. I will. Lunaris isn't chaos. Chaos! There's blood on the streets of its owner, I'm not sure, but I know exactly what it is the second I see Piper rushing towards us. Her dagger's drawn. Her aura's thrown with adrenaline. Her aura thrums with adrenaline, and it bleeds into mine at her approach.
Report.
It's that thing. I saw it with my own eyes. Ugly motherfucker, isn't it? Where is it now?
It was heading straight for headquarters. Had this mad look, like it couldn't see anything else. The witches scared it off and distracted it. It scurried into the forest, but I couldn't catch it.
Good. No one should face it alone. Raven is right. We cannot risk losing anyone else. Especially not you two. My heart races. Its uneven thump rattles my ears. I can't help but feel like we're not ready for this, like we might never be ready. But it's my duty. I look at the townsfolk and see the fear in their eyes, and I know that it's time. We should... Yes, we have no time to waste.
I'll stay here. They're afraid. This is their nightmare. I can at least try to make sure they feel safe.
I look off into the distance, the forest calling to me. The tips of my fingers tingle, every nerve ending set alight as my adrenaline spikes. Well, I'm the thing that monsters have nightmares about. So let's finish this. We head towards the forest, leaving the town in chaos behind us. I stop dead in my tracks as the houses fade out, something telling me to pause, to think. August, you should stay with Piper just in case it... I pause, taking a breath. I can handle this. Hunter Adventurous, I don't doubt that, but... I'd hate to leave you alone. I smile at them, and they throw me an incredulous look. I won't be alone. They frown, their eyes flicking towards the tree line, and when they relax, I suspect they see exactly what I see. Very well, I'll fall back. Keep the townsfolk safe. They reach out and place their hand upon my forearm, squeezing gently. Their eyes are sad, but earnest, proud.
Show it no mercy, just as it has shown none to us.
I nod, knowing I won't let them down. Any of them. Yes, General. Reluctantly, they turn on their heel, immediately barking orders at a group of enforcers that scurry towards them.
Did they see me? They'll kill me for this, you know.
I smile at him, beyond happy to see him. I think you're safe. I take a deep breath, and Ezra steps forward, dipping his chin to catch my averted gaze. What is it? Are you sure you're up to this? That ritual must have taken a lot out of you. He takes my hand, winking coyly and completely avoiding my question. I almost can't help myself when he crowds close, as if he knows exactly what he's doing. Our lips meet quick at first, then he moves back, deepening it with further fervor. We hold each other tightly, savoring each other, thinking it could be very well the last time, but not daring to say it out loud.
I'd love to keep standing here with you just like this, but...
As if it's heard him, a sorrowful groan echoes from deep within the forest. Let's go. We advance, moving as fast as our feet can carry us towards the source of the noise. We skid to a stop in a clearing that's quite clearly been ravaged by the creature. Trees splintered, scratched, the grass charred. Then it lumbers into view, too close to the town for comfort, too alert, and entirely too focused on me. Only me. Ezra's eyes widen as he takes in the sight of the beast, and he swallows thickly when he looks at me.
I've got your back.
Keep it distracted, just don't get too close. He nods, and then I watch in awe as Ezra changes. If I thought Ezra was magical before, the whites of his eyes are swallowed by the brightest, most vivid emerald. Fissures of light appear upon the surface of his skin like vines, curling around his fingertips. The air practically hums around him, singing under his command, the thick scent of petrichor permeating my senses. It's enchanting. He's enchanting. His magic lives and breathes in this moment. I'm captivated.
Give it hell.
I sure will. I propel myself forward, unafraid, kicking up dirt. I throw back my fist, landing the first hit with a satisfying smack. The impact reverberates through my knuckles, and I reach for my weapons as the creature gathers itself. I like that I just punched it. My first instinct, I'm not going to stab it. I'm just going to punch it first thing. Ezra and I fall into an easy routine as if we've been doing this forever. He covers me, keeping it distracted with a flurry of spells, and I lay into it with every ounce of unbidden power that surges through my body. We violently clash, nothing but a flurry of frenzied movements and strikes. I swing hard at the beast, erring to stick to my typical strategy of attack, not letting the furious tempo of this battle overtake my senses. However, there is a method to its madness, and its poise and posture remain. Something more than brute strength keeping it steady. When one of the attacks connects, the creature lets out a horrific scream, something that could bloody my ears, and it near sends me to my knees. I double back to catch myself, with vision blurring. Ezra calls out to me, coaxing me back to the fight as he keeps it at bay, an indecipherable display of power as vines break free from the earth and curl about its feet. It's strong, stronger than we anticipated, but more than that, despite its haggard appearance, it fights like I do. Calculated, precise, calm in a way no creature could ever be or ever has been. It fights like a hunter. I bring my hand to my face as Ezra chants an incantation in a foreign tongue, seeing crimson linking between my fingers, staining my skin. He calls to me again, frustration marring his words as he struggles to hold it, the creature crushing anything he summons with a heavy foot. I find myself frozen, my breathing heavy, but everything had been laid out before me, and I cursed my stupidity for not seeing it sooner. As if the creature has read my thoughts, as if it knows what I figured out, it gives something of a smile with that grotesque maw. It lunges, swatting Ezra aside with a startling display of strength, like a mere afterthought, and heads for me, transfixed. I watch as he crumbles against the trunk of a tree already felled by the creature's hand, his magic flickering and fading. Its eyes are constant on my form, long heavy strides gaining quick momentum in my direction. I cannot move, I cannot think, it's all a haze now. The only coherent thought I have is, if I'm going to die here, all I can hope is that Ezra makes it out. It draws back its gnarled arm, and I brace for impact. It's too soon for me to steel myself against the assault, and I feel my body shocked with pain. My boyfriend's gonna fuck him up for me. Fuck him up for me. Somehow I hear a whisper, something gentle and harmonious, yet not quite of this world. I turn my head to see Ezra, his lips moving at a frantic pace, the air around him aglow in a flurry of magic. He looks otherworldly, blinding, every inch of his body screaming power. He's commanding nature, everything around him at his mercy. Display distracts him, the creature turns to face Ezra with a sorrowful groan. In that moment, there's clarity in me, my body finally recalling every ounce of training I've had throughout my life. The instinct to survive saturating every nerve. I reach for my weapon despite the numbness in my fingers. I feel stronger, movements more certain, and as I see Ezra roll back and away from its advancing blow, I strike with everything I have. I drive my weapon to the back of its neck with a guttural scream. It swats at me blindly like a wild animal, trying to shake me off. It stumbles feverishly in random directions, but considerably more sluggish than before. Again, it attempts to remove the thing that will help it meet its maker, but I relent. I hold on, plunging it deeper until I can hear the sickening crack of bone. The creature's voice is smaller now, shaking and shaking, as if the life from it is finally torn asunder. It halts in its movements until it falls to its knees and pounds the dusty earth. I wait and I wait until I'm certain it's dead. Finally, there's resounding silence and I catch my breath. Try to, anyway. Then I feel Ezra's hands upon me, tugging at me to stand. Raven? He holds me tightly and I steady myself. We did it.
You did it.
His magic flickers and fades with a gentle hum. Ezra settles back into his normal state. I reach out and hold his face in my hand, still in awe of him, of his strength. As if we're both thinking the same, wanting the same, we meet in the middle with a melding of lips. Feeling him warm, safe, and alive against me is more than a relief. It's a revelation. He smiles against my mouth and we pull away, forehead pressed to forehead. You're amazing, Ezra.
You make me strong.
Raven? Let me see. We did it. Raven. Then everything goes black.
Hunter?
Alright, and we are going to leave things here. If you've been enjoying the game, if you've been enjoying the Let's Play, if you've been enjoying my commentary, my narration, if you've been enjoying the Ezra smooching, whatever, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Maybe leave a comment if you're feeling generous. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.